All right, I'd like to call to order the regular board meeting of the Batavia Park District for August 27th, 2013. Shelley, please call the roll.
Gray. Gray.
Here.
Riley.
Here.
Foils.
Here.
Tillman.
Here.
Callahan.
Here. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any items to be added, removed, or changed on the agenda?
No, they're not.
Okay. So I would entertain a motion to establish the consent agenda as follows. Approval of the meeting minutes for the regular board meeting of July 16th. Approval of the meeting minutes for the executive session for July 16th. Approval of the paid expenditures, unpaid expenditures, treasurer's report, purchases, and Windmill City Fest financial summary.
So moved.
Second. Motion by Tillman, second by Foils. Any further discussion?
Just when we have approval of purchases like this, if we can get some documentation in the packet that talks a little bit more about it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
We can do that.
Okay. So I have a motion and a second on the floor. No further discussion. Shall I please call the roll?
Tillman.
Aye.
Foils.
Aye.
Gray.
Aye.
Riley.
Aye.
Callahan.
Aye, motion carries. So I entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as established.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Tillman, second by Foils. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is item number 6, guests, matters from the public. Anybody wish to address the board this evening? That is not on an agenda item.
You're on. You're good.
Oh, we got you on the agenda.
You're good.
Very good. All right, thank you. Next item is matters from the commissioners.
I just wanted to comment about the quilt show that was about a month ago. I thought it was excellent. It was the first one that I had gone to, and it was much more than what I expected, and a great crowd, and I think it was well done all the way around. So, great job, Carla.
Thank you.
I was overwhelmed. Carla knows it personally. It was a lot of fun.
And we're very thankful to Pat for being our judge this year, and he did a great job, whether he thinks he did or not.
That was like nerve-wracking.
A lot of pressure.
Oh, man, I mean, just you'd hate to choose one over the other, but it was really, really something.
I know, it was great to see all of you, and Tara, thank you, and we're just, we were excited with the show this year, went really well. So.
Excellent. Anyone else?
I was going to add about the quilt show also. I'd never been, and it was beautiful and very well attended. It was fun. And I also wanted to add, I was at an event this weekend, and someone asked if I was on the park board because they'd seen my picture in the brochure. I said, oh, my dad is a former park board member. He is, H. Michael Wild Park is named after him. So that was kind of cool to meet someone and have a connection, and that's one of our family's favorite parks. So it was kind of a nice
Nice.
little connection.
That's great.
Yeah, thanks.
I would just like to add one thing. I want to preempt, it's not on the announcements, but I want to congratulate BYF for their 10 years serving the youth of this community, and this Friday is a big, big day for them, actually, at the high school. So I encourage everybody to continue to lend their support with BYF, so thank you. All right, next item on the agenda is correspondence. We have 7 pieces of incoming correspondence and 1 piece of outgoing correspondence, and we'd like to put that on file and appreciate those people who continue to communicate with us at Park District. Next item on the agenda is announcements.
Of course, I can't flip my
Carrie,
page. There we
not
go.
fast enough. There you go.
It was sticking. It wasn't wanting to. Okay. History returns to Batavia September 7th and 8th. Join the Batavia Depot Museum for a Civil War celebration at the Riverwalk. Talk with soldiers and civilians in period dress. Learn about men from this age who served their country. Listen to music soldiers listened to, and see and touch actual objects as well as reproductions of objects from the Civil War at the Depot Museum. Living history interpreters will lead you through the past so you can better understand the war's impact on Batavia and the Fox Valley. Bring your own dinner to eat with the troops at 6 p.m. Saturday, and then stick around for a Civil War concert at 7 p.m. All events are free. For more information, call the Depot Museum at 630-406-5274. Show off your skills and compete in the Batavia Teen Center skateboard competition on Saturday, September 21st at the Blackguard Skate and Bike Park. Registration starts at 10 a.m. and the competition kicks off at noon. Entry categories include beginner, intermediate, expert, and best trick. The cost is just $10 if you register in advance or $15 on the day of the competition. Prizes will be awarded in each category and concessions will be provided. A rain date has been set for Saturday, September 28th. Moms are invited to enjoy a special night with their sons, ages 3 to 12, at West Main Community Park on Thursday, September 26th from 5:30 to 7 p.m. Kick off the evening with a wagon ride, followed by campfire time. Hot dogs and chips will be provided for dinner, followed by all the fixings for s'mores. Pre-registration is required, so call the Park District at 630-879-5235 to sign up today. For more information on any of these events, please visit our website at bataviaparks.org.
Great, thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is affiliate reports. So this evening, we have 10A, the Batavia Chamber of Commerce, and I see Roger out there. Roger, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you, as always, for having me. I try to come, not every year, but I try to come to thank the Batavia Park District for your participation and organization of the Windmill City Fest. And as you know, the Batavia Chamber of Commerce is a part of that. I'm motivated this evening mostly to embarrass one particular young man. I moved into this community 24 years ago, and I think that many of the things that I have done in my life here have been aided greatly by Jeff Clark. Through all the years of the fireworks, I mean, he was there to help with whatever needed to be done. As I recall, he saved me on several occasions with sound systems for things like 9/11 ceremonies and Batavia Chamber of Commerce events. As if memory serves correctly, I think I even almost burned his house down once with an errant piece of fireworks. I say all of these things because tomorrow on the Chamber Board, Allison is going to replace Jeff as a member of the Batavia Chamber of Commerce Board. I don't know how many years Jeff has served on the Chamber of Commerce Board. I know the Chamber is 60 years old. I don't think that he's been on the board quite that long. But he's been there longer than I have been executive director of the Chamber, supporting the Batavia Chamber and the community through his participation in the Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors. So I want to thank him for that. So finally, then, I will get to my reason for being here. I want to correct Jeff on something that he always says about the Windmill City Fest. Whenever you try to compliment him on the quality of the event and how well it goes, all of you know what he says is, it's all about the weather. That's Jeff's standard reply. It's true that bad weather can kill a very good event. But good weather can't help a poor event. And Windmill City Fest year after year is a great event, regardless of the weather. This year we had spectacular weather and showed off that event particularly well. I want to thank, as I do every year, everybody at the Park District for your participation. It is, as you all know, I'm there most of the weekend with the food vendors. They love being there. It's a great event. The Park District, all of the staff are delightful to work with. Anytime something needs to be done, all I need to do is find somebody in the Park District staff, and it gets done, and it gets done immediately. It makes the event wonderful for our vendors. It makes the event wonderful for our guests. It makes the event wonderful for the community. And I will leave by pointing out that it's Jeff Clark who leads that effort year after year after year. And it's a great event, and I would just want to thank the Park District on behalf of the Chamber and on behalf of the community at large for the event. So thank you.
Thanks, Roger. Appreciate the kind words, and thanks for coming out.
Thank you.
Okay, next item on the agenda is the Batavia Plain Dirt Gardeners. Nancy, are you speaking? All righty, please come to the podium.
Before I talk about the Plain Dirt Gardeners, I just wanted to say a couple of words about the parks. Thank you. One of my favorite parks of yours is the Prairie Latham Park, and I think it's just fantastic. It is a park that has such a mix of services in it, and I walk there very often. It's about 6-7 blocks up from our house, up the hill, and every time I go, I just can't get over what a wonderful job it was to do it the way they did, and that you did. And I mean, there's baseball, basketball, tennis, all this stuff all in one with playgrounds, and yet it's such open space. Where can you go, you know, except maybe out to Wyoming, to see the sky like that? And I love to get up there early in the morning and just look at the clouds. It's just wonderful. Anyway, aside from that, rain control too, and all the native plants. Oh my God, the native plants that are there are marvelous. And even the butterfly things. Although we really could use some more common butterfly plants in there to be sure the monarchs find it. What I'm here about is the wildflower sanctuary, of course, and we've had a really great working relationship with the Park District on all of this, so better sometimes than the city. And Jim Eby is always in back of us, helping and sometimes pushing. And Eric is always a wonderful help when you need him. And one little incident I have to tell you about is when somebody accidentally or on purpose herbicided a whole section of our most wonderful native plants, the prairie plants. Eric got out there so fast, he knew exactly what to do. I know, I was in tears. He flooded the whole area and kept flooding it. I don't know what else you did, but today, have you been over there? It's just wonderful again. It's just better than ever. There's so many incredible, special, endangered species and good prairie plants. Beyond that, I've given you each we've given you, I wanted to introduce my cohorts here. Ron Gilkerson and Melissa Himes and my faithful husband, Ed. They're wonderful workers. They're down there all the time working. Melissa has just come on the team this year as my great helper, getting our work days together, and we have a work day every Friday, 8:30 to 11:30 in the morning, so everybody feels the urge to come out and dig weeds and water flowers and all that kind of thing. We're available. This thing that I put together here has a little of it, our accomplishments, it has our history in it, it has our outreach, our education outreach, and could Ron just say a couple of words about that, because it's something he really believes in.
Sure.
Ron, can you?
Yes, please, for the microphone. Thank you.
My name is Ron Gilkerson, and I live in Batavia Township. And part of my responsibilities as a Plain Dirt Gardener person is to assist Nancy. And we bring all the second graders in Batavia through the gardens. I have the privilege of being one of the sponsors and one of the lecturers and educators or whatever, and it is wonderful, I might add. If you ever have a morning free in the spring and we're having the tour, we would invite you to come down and just listen and watch these children who mostly have never been in the out of doors, never really paid any attention to it, but they do have the scholastic backing. The teachers prepare them. And when we walk around talking about flowers and trees and how this benefits them in the long run and how we like to preserve these precious flowers and other types of flora and fauna for their children to watch. And one of my pitches is, see that tree? That tree was there 400 years ago or 300 years ago, and nobody's chopped it down and nobody's moved it, And that tree is going to be here long after you are gone. And isn't that wonderful? And it can do nothing to ensure its future but stand there. And kids just really revel in that. And anyway, it's a wonderful experience, and I would encourage you to come down and join us someday.
Thank you. And the kids love Ron. He's the most popular one. We try to send all the boys off with him because he also points out the water snakes and the some of the other things you find there, all kinds of interesting things that little boys like. So in this first page, we talk about our outreach, education outreach, and about our high school helpers. We try to work with the high school whenever we can to get them down and help us with a lot of grunt work, which we're just all getting too old to do. And we also have the IMSA kids from the Illinois Math Science Academy, who they were just there a few days ago, and just terrific workers. And a lot of them, in kind of situations where they really have not been in the wild, and we have the wild for them. So then we also point out on the next page the history behind the Wildflower Sanctuary. And if is there anybody here who doesn't know the history of it, how it all developed, how long it's been going, and so on, please read it. And then we get to the problems, and I think most of you are aware of these problems, but it's kind of things we're going to have to be thinking about more and more in the future, you and we, about the problems of volunteers. We just don't have them anymore. We're all getting old. Some of us have died. Some of us have moved. Some of us just can't bend over anymore. So that's a major problem. And so we're also losing members in the garden club, the Batavia Plain Dirt Gardeners, which is, of course, the sponsor and the beginning of it all. So we don't have the participation there that we used to have. We don't have the money anymore. We don't have the membership. Things are, you know, great. We're all still having a great time. And Melissa's largely responsible for that too. And she also does a great job with the membership and with raising money through the garden walk every
Nancy,
other year.
For the viewing audience at home, how can people contact you if they're interested in volunteering?
Oh, hey. We have that little, did you get the little pamphlet? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was right. Okay, well, that has our website on it. I don't know, I think.
The phone number's
maybe
on
the name is not
the inside left page.
Oh, okay. Okay, did get it in there. Okay. Isn't this a cute little thing, by the way? We give this to all the kids now to take home to their parents after they've had the tours. And we try to get the word around about our website, too. So if any of you haven't been on the website, please try us. There's a lot of beautiful stuff in there. Right now, I can't get it published because I've got to get a new password. But when winter comes, I'll get back to it all again. So
you want to tell people what it is, the name of the website?
Oh, yeah, it's right at the bottom. Yeah, you have it at the bottom there, and I think I even have it on the other
It's
page.
the wildflowersanctuary.com.
Yeah, the important thing to remember that is the.
Yep, and then the phone number is 630-879-7578, for those of you at home that may be
9419. What? Oh, my number is 9419.
It's just the number that's on here.
Oh, Diana's number, that's for the organization.
Okay.
Yes. But she would send you to me anyway, so. And we have a work day every Friday. Melissa has established that. It's her day off from work, so she donates the morning to us. And it's great, she's been getting more and more volunteers, you know, from the club anyway, to come up. So she's one of our good things that we're looking at right now. We started hiring specialists. This is the last item 3 here. When we just could not do anything with the boardwalk area, it was just too difficult for us. It was just, and this is how many years ago, 9 or 10 years ago? The weeds, the invasives, like purple loosestrife, reed canary grass, some of those others that they just impossible to get rid of without herbiciding them. And we just lost control of that whole area. So we did decide in 2004 to hire specialists and pay for them ourselves. So we have been paying out $4,000 a year, just about, sometimes over, sometimes a little less, to Witness Tree, which is a company that Mary Zander of Geneva is in charge of, and that's listed here too, for the purpose of restoring it. Well, in just a few years, she had it turned around, and it was amazing. They come out, you know, with they know all, she's qualified, she's certified, got all the credentials, knows which herbicides to use, so on. And so we've been getting along pretty well. She's accomplished miracles, but it's a big area. The wildflower sanctuary is a huge area to cover. It covers 5 habitats, actually. I'll get it. I shouldn't get into this. You won't have anything else. But the problem is that we're not going to be able to pay her forever, and we're not going to be able to come up with all the volunteers forever. And I just think that all of you as board members and the people in the Park District are going to have to somehow work with us in figuring out how we're going to save this area, or are we just going to throw up our hands at some point and let it go to the weeds and the invasives? So that's the bad news. But other than that, everything is good.
We're always willing to work with you. I hope you know that.
I know, but it's a hard problem. And Kim Hansen, she's great. She's our main contact, and she's very helpful. But you know, we have things happen like this. Somebody mowed down. They have you have your mowers who are, I guess, the city and you, who are contracted. You know, they're not your employees, right? And sometimes they're young guys that go touring around there so fast and they don't know what they're doing. And a whole section of our prairie area was mowed down a few weeks ago. And we didn't know who to go to. Jill didn't know anything about it. She said, we don't do that now. The city is in charge of that. So we got the city guy, what's his name? Yeah, Scott Haynes over. And he said, well, he told them they weren't supposed to do that. And it just goes round and round, you know. I don't know what my point was there, but it's been a little problem just to figure out who to call, who to talk to. So, but you've always been great, and we thank you for that. And
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you for everything you've done.
Yeah, we'll
Just-
try to keep it up as long as we can.
Just so we can repeat it again for people who might want to volunteer, the wildflowersanctuary.com is where they go, right?
Right,
Okay.
yeah. And if you want to see, you know, you can go through all the flowers and all the, look at the index for the trees and the flowers. And you can find all the information about any one of them. So.
Great.
Thank you so much for coming. Nancy, Ed, Melissa, Ron, thanks for coming out tonight. We certainly appreciate all you do to keep the Wildflower Sanctuary what it is and the community asset that it truly is. And I think, you know, internally staff can talk a little more about trying to resolve some of the questions you had for us tonight and see if there's a way we might be able to do a little bit more, whether it be volunteer-wise, manpower, or maybe even financially to offset some of those expenses that you've incurred. So thanks for coming out and sharing your story.
Thanks, guys.
Yep, you're free to leave. Yep.
It won't be rude. Happens to us all the time.
Yeah. We'll be surprised if you stay.
Thanks for coming out, though.
Thank you.
So next item on the agenda is staff reports. Let's start with
Rita,
Dan.
changing it up
Oh,
on you.
Because I always look to the right.
Yep.
now we're moving.
I will go back to Jim when I'm done.
Okay, the floor is yours.
Okay. I just wanted to update my staff report in the board packet. I'm actually meeting with the auditors tomorrow, and we're going to go over the final draft of the audit. So in that respects, I have a question for the 5 of you, is I'm looking to not print as many copies of the audit because I have a ton sitting in my office, and to save trees, I'd like to reduce that. And I don't know if you guys would rather see a copy as a PDF, or do you actually want a paper copy?
The more we can do electronically, the better for me.
Okay, so everyone's okay with the PDF
We could
instead of
just
a
throw it up
paper?
on the extranet, boom.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Music to our ears.
Glad we could oblige.
Saved a tree or two.
Yeah, about it.
Save Bruce's spruce.
Rita, does the Park District have any bonds outstanding, the principal amount of which is more than $1 million?
Yes.
When you get the audit,
Mhm.
make sure you get it in an electronic PDF format that's word searchable, so you
Okay.
can file it with the MSRB.
Right. And that's what we've done in the past, and bookmarked as well. I don't think the NSRB worries about that, but we bookmark it for the board as well and for us to look at it, so. I mean, we will print copies because we still keep a copy here. We do send one to the library, but just to reduce, if they're sitting on your desk collecting dust and
we
you're
don't-
looking at the PDF version more than you are the paper, I'd rather just reduce the paper cost.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Definitely.
That was it. That was my big
I'm still looking at you because
question.
you haven't thrown anybody else's away.
Throw it.
Volley it. Yeah.
I have a number of things on the report, but I think probably the thing I'd like to highlight the most, and because Jen's here as well, we have done 4 out of our 5 sections of our loss control review with Paderma. The ones we have done so far have turned out very well. The folks on the safety committee have done a tremendous job getting their sections prepared. Jen and I worked together on our administrative section, which really was a big chore. They're done every 3 years. Gary probably knows exactly what we're up against.
It's a big task.
And so far, we're doing very good. We've got parks at the end of September. We will get our final information back from Paderma mid to late November, so we'll know what our final score is by then. But everybody so far is well over 95%, so we're doing very well.
Great.
Yep.
Much better than 3 years ago, in fact.
Yeah, on a couple of them, very much so. So it's a lot of work, putting all the paperwork together and keeping it all straight, organized, and then presentable. And then they do the walkaround. So we've got both physical and administrative that we have to do.
Good job.
Thanks. Well, good job to you guys.
I just got a couple things. First off, we had the last of our college support staff leave us last Friday, and they were an outstanding group of young people, young adults, and they all did a great job. They seemed to get along very well. We were able to get a lot of things checked off our to-do list. That would be the installation of the safety mulch, trail trimming and riverbank trimming, and a lot of athletic field restoration, where it takes a lot of manpower and labor, and not one complaint. They just did great. Nancy Weiss happened to mention the IMSA service. We also are a beneficiary of the Illinois Math and Science Academy's service day with their students. Wednesday, the 21st, we had about 30 high school age people come out to Hawks Bluff Path and install mulch on the walking trails. And they were so energetic. Within minutes, they were singing Disney theme songs and racing to spread wheelbarrows fulls of mulch, and they just, it was an addictive atmosphere. The people that we had teamed with them had a great time. The weather was awesome, and we do this every year, and we look forward to every opportunity we can with them. So if anybody from IMSA is listening, nice job, and we really, really appreciated it. So I shared an email with Allison when I sent my thank you and back to the coordinator out there, and they loved it as well. So
Great. Thank you.
Do you know, just because we just had our talk with the Wildflower Sanctuary with IMSA, do you know if they have any sort of biology, I know they have a lot of math and science, do you know if they have a biology interest or some sort of think that they might be able to come out and help, or maybe get some funding from the state through some sort of
Yeah.
biology
I don't know, but I
type of
certainly
thing.
could look into it and see if they have any, outside groups or anything like that.
Well, it might help
Sure.
them with their education, develop a program.
Sure.
And then they get funding from the state, which would then help us too.
Yeah, I will
I
definitely
mean, I don't know,
reach out to
but
her.
it seems like it might be a
Great idea.
fit of some sort.
Thank you, Commissioner Riley. Yeah, man.
Okay, we had a couple things from the rec department. We've had a very successful concert series this summer on the Riverwalk on Wednesday nights. We had good weather and good crowds and a lot of positive feedback from all the concerts that we had. So looking forward to continue to build that next summer. We're also gathering revenue and expense reports for the quarry, and we'll probably be back in, I'm guessing, October to give a final quarter report of how we performed there this summer. So be looking for that. And then our enrichment program started last week, and last year we had just one of the 6 schools go full day, and we had roughly 90 to 95 kids. This year we have close to 120, and 5 of the 6 schools are running full day. So we're looking to continue to build on that, and hopefully that continues to grow and get bigger as the years go on. So we're pretty happy with that. That's it.
Great, thank you.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. A couple things that I wanted to update you on. The first item in mind was the You Pick 'em football contest. It should be on our website this week. And at the time, I hadn't secured a prize sponsor yet, but I want to report that Pal Joey's is on board again to be a prize sponsor. So, and then IAPD does a Best of the Best gala, and this year we did nominate the Kane County Chronicle for a Top Journalist Award. And I'm very happy to say that they were chosen. So,
Cool.
yeah, so I'm really excited I'm going to work with Allison to get a letter sent to them, and invite them to the gala to present that award. So we have a very good relationship with them. We do the twice a month column through the Chronicle, and things like that. So they're definitely very deserving. So, and then the last thing I just want to share, as you all know, we had an intern this summer in the marketing department. And at the end of the summer, at the end of his internship, he did kind of like a final report kind of a thing. So I just I'm not going to read the whole thing. I did include it in the board packet, but I did just want to highlight one of the things he said. He said, "I never expected to have as much fun as I did while working at the Batavia Park District. What I really got out of this internship is a new appreciation for the Parks and Recreation field. I've never seen a more dedicated and passionate group of people working to provide fun and entertainment as a product. I also received the experience I believe that I needed to feel confident in my abilities to go out and be successful at a full-time job. I really hope that job ends up being in another park district." So I just thought that was cool.
That's great.
Impactful.
That's it?
Okay.
Don't feel compelled.
Actually, I'm going to be talking about our event coming
so-
up here, and so I'll hold off
All
until we
right.
reach that point.
Excellent. Board, any questions for staff on the reports? Okay. Next item on the agenda is Executive Director's Report.
Yes, I have quite a few items. As you'll see in the packet, there is a succession plan as well as, for one particular position, as well as all the scorecards and work plan goals. And just to make the note that all of the work plan goals are in alignment with the goals outlined in the strategic master plan. And it really directs and guides the vision of the Park District. And I just feel it's so important to communicate to all of you what those goals are in this fiscal year. And staff has already made a lot of progress. We're already into our second quarter, and we're really cooking. So you're going to see a lot of revolutionary change at this Park District, as you've heard tonight. So it's a very exciting time to be a part of the Batavia Park District. Also, I am entering the final phase of the reorganization of the Batavia Park District. So there are some job titles that will be changing. And we will be kind of dwindling down to the final four, just like in March Madness, we call it the final four, for department heads. Department head team will be the Director of Recreation, Director of Parks and Properties, Director of Marketing and Public Relations, and the Director of Finance. Carla Hill, the Director of the Depot Museum and Interpretive Services, Jimmy B., the Capital Projects and Purchasing Manager, and our Human Resources and Risk Manager will be a part of the management team. And together, the department head team and the management team creates the leadership team. So we have separate meetings for leadership, separate meetings for management. So it's really innovative reorganization plan, and we actually, staff is looking forward to it.
Great.
So, and with that being said, I give you a little sneak peek into the fact that we have a human resources and risk manager, and she's here tonight, and it's my great pleasure to introduce her. She hails from the Wheaton Park District, and she has a master's in management and organizational behavior from Benedictine University, also known as the people side of master's degrees. So it's my great pleasure to introduce to you Jennifer Bruggeman.
Thank you.
Welcome,
Thank you
Jennifer.
for the opportunity. I'm looking forward to serving you, your staff, your community. I'm really excited about some of the projects we've already gotten underway. So look forward to being here many years.
Great.
Thanks for coming
Jennifer's
out.
been instrumental already, and you want to shake some
She's got to
hands?
walk up, she's got to walk up and
Jennifer's been instrumental.
Tara, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Welcome.
You can get up there.
No.
As you can tell, she has some precious cargo. But Jennifer's been instrumental in working with the safety committee, and most notably Jim Eby on the Paderma loss control review. So she just jumped right in. She's entering her second month with us. So she's fearless, and we like that. So
Right.
welcome, Jen. Also, I do want to make mention that 2 weeks ago, we had 17 Park District staff volunteer time on a Saturday morning, actually 5 hours of time, to help the Parks Foundation lay planks at the Riverwalk, the Boardwalk project. So there were a lot of fun pictures on Facebook, and but it meant a lot to the Parks Foundation, and we know how important it is to preserve the integrity of the Riverwalk and our boardwalk. So it was a great experience, great team building experience for everyone, and thank you to the staff for participating. So it was well attended, and we got a lot done.
Say, how many planks did you lay?
Yeah, very sore the next day.
How many planks did you lay?
A lot.
Is that an official number?
Is there a punchline in there?
I can tell you.
And yeah, Jim's doing the math. And I would like to make note that the Illinois Association of Park Districts is having a gala. As Carrie mentioned, she alluded to the fact that the King County Chronicle just achieved, this fabulous award that's going to be given that date. But I also want to make note that Pat Callahan has celebrated 15 years with the district a little earlier in the year, but going on 16 years now. But he will be recognized on September 27th with the IAPD Gala. So if any of you are interested in attending, please let me know so I can book a seat for you at the table. Well, let's hope he's available. We'll make sure he's available first, and
We're
then
still working on that.
But I just wanted to say congratulations, Pat.
Thank you. My pleasure to serve.
We laid 192 boards.
Wow.
That was very Rain Man of you.
Others, I'm in a hurry, so let's go.
Couldn't get to 200.
Well, that's a lot of boards.
Yeah, it is.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
Little assembly line. Nice work.
Yeah.
And it gave us appreciation for all the people that are down there every single Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
We just
Yes.
did one Saturday, and we were all so sore the next day, and it just like.
As Britta is an excellent project manager, and Steve McKenna, the two of them are just dynamic duo.
And they're tireless. I
Yes.
don't know how they
Yeah.
keep going.
They just are amazing. So kudos to them, and to, again, all the businesses that have volunteered every Saturday at the Riverwalk.
Great. Thank you. Okay. Carla, I think you're up. Next
Yeah,
item on the
I
agenda is
am.
13A.
All right. About a year ago, I was contacted by Trevor Steinbach regarding the possibility of doing a Civil War reenactment or encampment for Batavia, commemorating the 150th anniversary of the Civil War. And I thought, wow, that sounds like a really great project. Trevor has done a tremendous amount of work along with several other people. Chris Winter has put in a wonderful exhibit at the museum and is now, as of next Monday, we'll have a second exhibit in, and this one will deal with the medical practices for the Civil War, which it promises to be very, very interesting. So I invited Trevor Steinbach here tonight to just do a brief presentation on what is going to take place on September 7th and 8th on the Batavia Riverwalk. And we're extremely excited. I'm hoping that we have good weather and, you know, great crowds. So, Trevor, would you like to come up and?
Civil War, just walk it off.
One letting.
Or you're dead.
Well, good evening. I'm Trevor Steinbach. I've lived in Batavia 28 years, and I've been an educator. I'm a retired educator now. Last June, and over the winter I came to Carla and I said, it's the 150th anniversary. I've been in reenacting since the early 1990s, when I discovered one of our members of our community was a doctor in the Civil War, and I sometimes portray him, Dr. Charles Ambler Boucher. He was a name on the Newton Monument, and I've done extensive research on him and have done reenacting at both the local level, and I run the 17th Corps Field Hospital. I'm president. We're a 501c3. And most recently, we worked with the paramedics with just 11,600 people at Gettysburg doing reenacting. So we're not going to have 11,600 people in Batavia, trust me. But we're doing History Returns to Batavia, a Civil War interpretive event. And this is a shot of our field hospital. Well, about half of our field hospital. We'll be about double this down by the Riverwalk. We're working with the museum, ourselves, and the Park District to put this on. And the first part of this was the Batavia Depot exhibit on the Civil War. And if you haven't gone and seen it, you need to see it before Chris changes it. It's got everything from saddles to interesting items that the troops would have taken along with them in their backpacks. And it's called Red, White, and Blue. We will be next week, Tuesday, at the Public Library at 7 o'clock, having a session on women in the Civil War, and it's an interactive presentation. And we're actually going to be having Mother Bickerdike, a person who portrays her, and Mother Newcomb, another, both of these were Illinois women who went off during the Civil War and totally stepped out of women's roles during that time period. So they will be talking about women and women's roles during this time period. That's kind of our kickoff, although if you come by this Saturday, you'll probably see me in a uniform down at the Depot Museum, tantalizing people. It's kind of, you are there, the Batavia Civil War Encampment Weekend, and you're going to see a lot of different kinds of things at the encampment. Our setup is actually going to be this next Friday on the 6th. And the area that you see there will be filled with tents, all kinds of different sizes and large flies, all being period correct. What we're actually doing is we're starting on Saturday at 9 in the morning and we're ending at 9 at night. And every hour, there's something that's happening, from a medical lecture to the kids being taken out and drilled with wooden rifles, which is fun. We're going to have the artillery there. We're going to have our cannons. We're going to have all kinds of different things happening for the public to come and experience, including music in the museum itself. So one of the fun things we're going to do is we're asking people to bring their own dinner and eat with the troops. And of course, we're going to have a Civil War musical concert. So from basically 9 to 9, we're going to be open with the public. We have the 104th Illinois Infantry Group coming. We have the 8th Illinois Cav without their horses. We said, no horses. It's a little small down there. But there were a number of Batavia men who were in the 8th Illinois Cav. It's famous because it fired the first shot at Gettysburg. We're going to have the 17th Corps Field Hospital. And coming from Stillman Valley, we're going to have one of the cannons from Battery G. And they're going to show people how they would have normally fired the machine. They're not going to be firing their cannon, but they're going to be doing demonstrations showing the process that they go through. All through this time period, the museum will be open, and we're excited that we're going to have quite a crowd come down and experience this. In 1862, very close to here, right over at the Methodist Church, on a Sunday morning, the entire Methodist men's Sunday school signed up as a company in the 124th Illinois. Our assessor here in Batavia, Mr. Mann, Aiden Mann, was the captain of that group. And they marched off to war. They went down to Springfield. They got all the way down the Mississippi to New Orleans. They were over at the Battle of Mobile Bay, and they ended up in Selma, Alabama at the end of the war and then came back. It's an interesting group, and it's part of the history of this town, along with a lot of other people who fought during the Civil War. Actually, about 2 blocks to the west of us was where the GAR Hall, the Grand Army of the Republic Hall, was for Hall number 44, where the old men, as they became that, used to sit around and tell stories of the Civil War. Well, we want to tell stories to the children of Batavia, the parents of Batavia, and anyone who's really interested about the Civil War, because it was a defining moment in our history as an ex-history teacher myself. They'll see cannons, they'll see surgeons. Our gentleman up here in the upper right, they'll see the Undertaker. His nickname is Digger. He's really an IRS agent. He's a real digger.
So he's still an Undertaker.
We give him a lot of flack about being a digger and a digger.
Right.
But he only audits businesses. Sunday, again, we're going to open at 9. We're going to close at 4. We're going to have a lot of different opportunities for people, including music and infantry and medical and the museum. And we're hoping, again, please, good weather, because that always helps us. But you're going to see all kinds of troops. The lower right over here is an example where we actually run the students through the drill of how they would have been selected in 1861 to get into the military, which is very simple. Do your eyes move? Can you hear something? Do you have your 4 front teeth so you can bite off the cartridge? By the way, that's where we get the term 4F. They didn't have their 4 front teeth. And we have certificates for those. You see our flute player over there. We're going to have a lot of different experiences. And we start our new exhibit on Civil War medicine that will be continuing this fall with actual medical instruments from the time period and reproduction instruments from the time period. So we're really excited about doing this and providing this as a free event for the citizens of Batavia to learn about their history. And I really want to thank Carla for all of the work that she has done and her involvement. There's been many weeks where we've met every week during the month on the planning of this. But we're extremely excited about being able to provide this experience for students, for adults, for parents, as an opportunity to learn about the Civil War and the different groups that were involved who had members from this community. So, any questions?
Board? About how many reenactors do you expect?
We're looking at 20 reenactors coming from the different groups that we have coming. And we really don't know what the crowds are going to be like. We're anticipating, if it's a nice day, we're going to have a significant number of people coming, visiting the museum. We're going to be running a short survey with everybody who comes, trying to gain some information about where did they come from, are they from the community, what kinds of other things do you want to visit in Batavia. A promotion not only of the great parks and the great community itself, but an educational opportunity. We're hoping that some of the PR, and you've provided some excellent PR for this, will come to fruition and we'll have big crowds. Be great to have no place to park.
Would be, wouldn't it?
Yes.
I'm wondering, where's the next, oh, I'm sorry.
No, please.
Where is the next closest of these events that occur? In suburban area, west, I mean, where are people going to be coming from?
The closest event after this that is available is going to be at Cantini, and it's the first weekend in October. And then the next event after that, that's kind of in the Chicago metro, northern Illinois area, is at Princeton. And then the final event of our year is the third weekend in October, and that's down at Dollinger Farm, which is in Manuka. But there's a small event that will be over at Cantini, but they charge for admission to that. So we're really excited that we can provide this for the residents of Batavia.
Thanks.
Yes?
Are the reenactment soldiers staying overnight
Yes.
on the ground?
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
I don't do anything where I don't get to camp. I'm an ex-life Boy Scout, so I always stay out in my tent.
Okay.
But I will be honest with you, okay? There are things in my tent that are a little bit more modern than what a Civil War soldier would have.
So we're saying we can call you on your cell phone when you're at the tent.
You can probably call me on my cell phone, and I have a double high air mattress because I have back issues. I used to sleep on a period cot, and I got tired of coming home with a backache. But everything that the public sees outside of our tents is absolutely period correct.
Ignore the man behind the curtain.
And many of our people are trained by the National Association of Interpreters, which is the same group that trains Park District personnel, National Park Service. So we're really excited about the number of potential people that could come. But the majority of the reenactors that will be there have had some affiliation with education or are educators. So we're there to serve the public and make sure that they have good information and a good time. Yes?
Do you have any signs planned for out on Wilson? Or
Yeah, we have 2 banners that
Okay.
they'll be putting up. We just got them, and they're putting them up, one out here and one at the east side. Plus, we have some other signs that we just got from Brian, so
Okay, great.
gonna go up. We have an article going in the Neighbors Magazine, which is due out just in any time. And so,
There'll be a
and
column in the Chronicle tomorrow.
yes. And we also have, the school district has agreed to put information in all the backpack mailings for the next 3 weeks. So we've been going, through a lot of everything that we can think of to actually make people aware that this is happening, so.
This has been a labor of love. I would say that you've been working on this for 6 months, at least.
Yeah, it's been a
long
while,
time.
but, and it is, and Trevor has done a tremendous amount of work, and we are very excited, and we do have some sponsors. I don't want to say who the sponsors are yet, because we've just, we're just receiving all of the information from them, but we do have 4 really great local sponsors, too, for the event as well, so.
Yes, I started the day with Carla, and I'm ending the day with Carla.
Yeah.
We were at the,
We were at the Rotary.
And that's a good day, Trevor.
We were at the Rotary.
meeting this morning at 7:15, together talking to the Rotary.
Yes, and the Rotary is going to be one of our sponsors. So
Great.
we're
That's great.
very excited about the possibilities, so, and the Historical Society as well.
Well, that's, I mean, it looks like a phenomenal event, and thank you both for all your efforts on this. And Carla, that was a pretty good staff report.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Trevor, appreciate it. Thanks for
Thank
coming out
you.
tonight. Okay, next item on the agenda is item number 15, new business. 15A, award of the bid for 103 South River Street Trailhead Development.
Boy, microphones all over the place. It seems like a long time ago now, but back at the beginning of the month, on the 7th, we opened the bids for it's the multi-use trail. It's the access path that we are going to be installing on the formerly 103 South River site, the corner of South River Street and Webster. It's going to be a connection between the public sidewalk on the River Street down to the bike trail right along the river. Primary reason that we obtained that site, so that the official entrance to the Fox River Trail from River Street can now be on a safe spot rather than down through the middle of the big parking lot between the banks and the restaurant bike shop building there. It hasn't happened very often, but we are going to be asking in the memo that I put together here, we're asking that the low bidder be rejected due to a lack of quality experience with this particular type of project. I'm sure you've had a chance to read all the information. I won't take all your time and do that. The second low bidder has, in fact, they specialize in this kind. We have good experience with them. I don't know, nothing against the Continental Construction Company as the first low bidder. It's just that they did not have the experience that we need for this kind, and they weren't able to produce that proof. Upland Design, our consultant firm, did a lot of checking with all of the references, plus they asked for more from the company, and still you see the results in the thing. So we need to make 2 actions tonight, as we understand it. And you've got those prepared, okay.
No, I don't. I just remember that this requires 2.
Yeah, we have to, you have to make a finding that the original low bidder, Continental Construction, is not a responsible bidder due to the lack of experience with this type of project, and then we will
Entertain a motion
award.
to award the bid.
Allison's got the,
Yep, it's under the suggested action at the bottom.
Just the one, though, right?
2.
There's 2 here?
Yep.
No, there's only one.
There's only
they didn't get that, what you have there.
But I
Oh,
can,
they don't, here.
I think.
Oh, yeah. They're not
Sorry about
looking
that.
like they are looking at the same thing you are.
That's different.
No, it's a different thing.
Yeah, these are.
So I would entertain a motion to reject the bid of Continental Construction Company, Inc. as a non-responsible bidder based on the information in the memo that was provided to the board.
So moved.
So I have a motion by Tillman, a second by Gray. Any further discussion?
This is commonly done, documenting it this way, that's in the packet, that rejects the low bid, that we're not going to have any issues with this later on, right?
The amount of research that supports the decision is absolutely sufficient, and to rely upon a staff report and incorporate it by reference is standard protocol.
Okay.
Whether you'll have a problem with it, I can't predict.
Right. But we're crossing all our Ts and dotting our Is.
You have adequate grounds to do
Okay,
this.
great, thank you.
No further discussion? Shelley, please call the roll.
Tillman.
Aye.
Gray. Riley.
Aye.
Boyles.
Aye.
Callahan.
Aye, motion carries. So then I would entertain a motion to award award a contract for the installation of the multi-use path access at Webster and South River Street to Evans and Son Blacktop of West Chicago as the lowest responsible bidder in the amount of $28,607.71.
So moved.
They got to get that 71 cents.
So motion by Tillman, second by Gray. Any further discussion? Shelley, please call the roll.
Tillman.
Aye.
Gray. Riley.
Aye.
Boyles.
Aye.
Callahan.
Aye, motion carries. Now, I do have to make a comment on this now. I have an employee who is a trail rider, so he lives in Chicago. They drove out this past weekend and parked and came to through Batavia, and they said it was extremely confusing once they hit the downtown as to where the trail goes. So what I really like about this project is not so much the physical connection, but the signage and the things that we talked about to really make sure people know where to go next, as opposed to through the parking lot, because I do see a lot of bewildered faces as I'm driving down Wilson Street with people on bikes.
You do,
going like, whatever.
yeah.
So this is great.
And as a side note, the Bike Commission, the City of Batavia Bike Commission is right now working on a wayfinding project that they hope to tie into the Tri-Cities here.
Great.
So that there really will be a consistent message all the way down. Kind of in its infant stages, but
Sure.
I think we're going to be hearing more about it as the year goes along.
Great.
Jim and I have been working with them on it.
Super. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is 15B, the award of the printing for the winter 2013-2014, fall 2014 Fun Guide Series.
Yes. We had a bid opening on Tuesday, August 13th. We did receive a total of 3 bids from printers. And based on that, our current printer, Action Printing, who we've been with for a good number of years, did actually come in as the lowest bidder in the amount of $40,882. So it is definitely my recommendation to continue with them. And outlined in the memo is the motion to award the 1-year contract with an option to renew to Action Printing.
Okay, so I would entertain a motion to award a 1-year contract with an option to renew for the printing service for the Batavia Park District Brochure Series as illustrated in the bid specifications for base bid and alternate B to Action Printing of Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, for an amount not to exceed $40,882.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Foyle, second by Gray. Any further discussion?
Yeah, when I read this, I was a little surprised at the number. You know, I know paper and ink cost a lot of money. We've certainly had feedback that the brochure is what people value in the community, and it's won an award. I mean, all positive things that it's hard to look away from. But I saw this number, I go, man, you know, that is a big number to print. And so I don't think that we should go away from the brochure, but I think as time goes on, as people become more tech savvy and start to look at, you know, just like Rita with, you know, all this paper and trees and stuff, to maybe start to evolve at some point, you know, over the next 5 years or so to, you know, and it's up to the community. If they really like the brochure and that's where we're getting people, and they love it, because I like it to get it too.
Yeah, our community needs assessment last year said 92%.
And it's very surprising. I think that each side is a little unique.
But I think we should point out that if I'm not mistaken, we print approximately 52,000.
Yes, it's quarterly,
A year.
and it's 13,000 that do get printed.
So for this
it is
price,
a large number.
It's actually a pretty good price for 52,000 pieces of, thick documents, so. I mean,
And
it's less
also,
than
as
a buck.
outlined in here, it is a significant savings.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah, the savings over.
Yeah.
Just when you say, when I saw 40,000, man, that's a lot of money for some brochures.
And
but it does so much good.
We do now provide on our website an electronic flip book version of
Right,
it for
which is
people who
convenient,
are
too.
more tech savvy,
Mhm.
you know, and would rather, but every time we do survey the community, people like the physical book.
Yeah,
Like,
it is,
they keep it in their cars, they sit and wait for their kids, and they're flipping through the book.
I have it.
I agree that it's a large
in my house,
sum,
and
but.
I look at it whenever I'm looking, to sign. I mean, I like it. I
Right.
think it's the greatest thing. It's won awards. You can't say anything really bad about it, except
Right.
that I just saw the number. And like you said, it's 50,000 going out there. And,
Right.
But anyway, so I mean, maybe just something in the back of our minds as we do our annual planning, and maybe survey the residents that maybe they'll start to evolve just like the newspapers are.
And to your
But,
point, we're watching our neighbor park
Yeah.
districts to see, like Elgin, the city of Elgin Park and Rec Department. They went completely digital one year, and then they ended up going back to print. Some other agencies in Illinois are subscription only. So everybody has their different flavors. So we've been keeping our, Carrie's been keeping her finger on the pulse of what's been going on
Well, I
in
guess that's the key.
industry.
Just keep your
Yes,
finger on the
and
pulse.
being involved, I'm past director for the communications and marketing section of our state association, and every time that the brochure topic does get brought up, I know of one park district that no longer prints it, and I'm actually a resident of that park district. It drives me crazy. It's Streamwood Park District. So it's very consistent that people that do survey their community, the communities just want that physical book.
Okay.
So we'll stay open-minded.
Absolutely.
But if people want it, stay with it. But,
We'll
I guess the
absolutely
pulse.
keep it.
That's a good point.
Mhm.
Just keep your finger on the pulse, see what's going on.
Yeah, study the industry trends
Yeah.
in the community.
I was just telling Pat, I know somebody who lives in St. Charles that actually asks me for my copy every quarter.
Wow.
So,
Nice.
Mine is well dog-eared at home, so. We keep ours. Okay, I have a motion to second on the floor. Any further discussion? Shelley, please call the roll.
Foils.
Aye.
Gray. Riley.
Aye.
Tillman.
aye.
Callahan.
Aye, motion carries. Next on my agenda is under 15C, award of the bid for the graphic design for winter 2013-2014, fall 2014 Fun Guide Series.
In addition to the RFP for the printing, we also had an RFQ for the design of the brochure. We did receive 9 proposals and whittled that down and did 5 finalist interviews. Based on those interviews, it was a unanimous decision. Kathleen Kearns of Kearns Design Group, her particular business now has been around since 2001, but she personally has more than 20 years of experience with graphic design. She provided more references than was requested, and all of them had glowing recommendations for her and commented on her prices, on her customer service, and on her design experience. So I'm very confident to request that a motion be made to award a 1-year contract, again with the option to renew, to Kearns Design Group.
So I entertain a motion to award a 1-year contract with an option to renew for the design of the Park District brochure series as illustrated in the 2014 RFQ to Kearns Design Group for an amount not to exceed $20,912.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Tillman, second by Riley. Any further discussion?
Can I just ask, has this always been, I just assumed that you know.
It is.
It's always been
I
outsourced.
appreciate that. No, I appreciate that she has that confidence.
When the board hired, when Ralph Morris hired me in 2000, I actually laid out, the brochure was the old-fashioned newspaper style, and my first official task was to create a digital, the 8.5 by 11 that you see today. So yeah, I used to do it in-house, and then I created a very airtight proposal to Mike Clark and proposed that I can get this amount of things done if I can outsource the guide. So.
It's one of those trade-offs where because it's such a large project and takes so many hours, a lot of things would have to fall away if we were to bring it in-house. A lot of park districts who do it in-house have a graphic designer on staff, and because we don't have that, this is something that definitely I would prefer.
Because they kind of a lot like ours in a neighboring town, they look alike. I mean, they're similar layout, so I thought maybe it was
Well, like I said, some neighboring towns have graphic designers on
Okay.
staff. Or full marketing departments, like Fox Valley Park District has an entire department of, the different levels.
Right.
So including a graphic designer that focuses on the brochure and
Just
other
that.
pieces. So.
And we do want to make note that this is a new designer, so going along with the facelift that our logo is going to be getting and, brand identity later on this year, that we are going with a new direction.
Any further discussion? A motion and a second on the floor. Please call the roll.
Tillman.
Aye.
Riley.
Aye.
Gray. Boyles.
Aye.
Callahan.
Aye, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is 15D, West Main Disc Golf Course Agreement with the Batavia Parks Foundation.
Yes, the Batavia Parks Foundation has approved this agreement. There are two things that are very important about this particular agreement. One is the sponsorship program. If by chance the Parks Foundation defaults on the sponsorship program, if it, for whatever reason, it no longer becomes a priority, or if maybe they're fledgling with numbers of volunteers to help with the foundation to solicit sponsorships, then the Park District can take the sponsorship program back. So, so that's an important.
Specific for the golf, for the disc golf.
Specifically, yep, yes, thank you, for the West Main Disc Golf Course. And the second part that I wanted to mention that's important is that the Park District in this agreement agrees to waive any permit fees or any rental fees associated with the disc golf course. So if the foundation wanted to host an outing of some sort or a retreat, they could do so at no cost, as a thank you for all that they've done.
Now, is this something you need a motion for?
I think I just need a consensus. Would that be right?
It's a contract, right?
Mhm.
You have to approve it by motion.
Okay.
So I would entertain a motion to approve the agreement between the Batavia Park District and the Batavia Parks Foundation as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Tillman. Slow tonight. Second by Gray. Any further discussion?
Is there any sort of liability on either our part or the foundation's part if someone goes out there and gets hit in the head with a disc or something like that and gets hurt?
Ouch. No, that's a very good question. It would be treated as far as I know, it would be treated as it would in any one of our parks. I mean, it would.
Assuming risk going out and doing it?
It's not considered a hazardous recreational use.
Mm-hmm.
So, like Alan said, it'd be considered recreational property. If the injury occurred as a result of a condition of the property, there was a hole or a weed and someone tripped over it, the Tort Immunity Act provides protection for you in that event. If it's because of the acts of another competitor, you don't have any control over that. Furthermore, you have some immunity for lack of supervising it.
Okay.
I don't know if it says disc golf at your own risk, but it doesn't create any extraordinary risk.
Okay.
Okay. Any other?
I certainly appreciate your question, especially given your professional background.
Oh, I always think about liability.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Tillman.
Aye.
Gray.
Aye.
Riley.
Aye.
Boyles.
Aye.
Callahan.
Aye, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is 15E, policy discussion.
Yes, I will defer to Rita to discuss, Director Cruz, to discuss the per diem policy and the changes made to it.
The policy in front of you today, as proposed, the first part that you see is the current policy, so we are removing that in entirety, and after that is the proposed policy, just for easier reading and understanding of what we were going to do. The policy title will actually change from per diem to travel, because I've taken and expanded it outside of just per diem discussion, because I did not see any other travel sections in the manual, so I figured this is a good place to kind of bring it all together, and it's one easy place to get it all. So the purpose of the policy is just to establish guidelines for when we're doing travel to conferences or any type of event like that. It is obviously expected that if you go to a conference, you need to be going there for the conference and not to, do other things, socialize, but, obviously attend sessions and things like that. The personal travel section is new. It just discusses that you can bring a significant other with you. It's just it cannot be basically on the Park District dime. I mean, if let's say the conference coming up in Houston, and let's say Allison decides to stay 3 days later, and there's no additional cost if she goes 3 days later because of travel reasons, or let's say the airplane reason or airplane costs, then that is okay, because you're not incurring any more money to the district, but she's still allowed to take her personal time as she chooses to have a longer vacation if she would like. So that kind of covers the personnel portion of it. Covered
That doesn't
travel.
infer the conference's vacation.
That
doesn't infer the conference's
Yes,
vacation.
sorry. No, the conference is not a vacation. That's why I said after the conference, not during the conference time frame. Covered travel would be separated into two different sections. It would be actual costs, which would be things like airfare, baggage, transportation, mileage, hotels. Because normally, especially the hotels, they're normally offering some kind of discounted rate if you are going to that conference. So that is the best rate that you can get anyway. So it's not like, we really can't go look and find anything better, because there's some agreement somewhere where you're paying, a discounted rate at that point in time. So cover that in there. The per diem section is what is probably the biggest change in the policy. We started in January working on this and testing it out when we went to IPRA. Per diem is where, instead of having all employees that went to the conference giving the receipts back and then reimbursing them for it, or putting on the district credit card, we would allow you to get a check for a given amount based upon the GSA rates, which are federal rates. They change approximately every 2 years. And you would be able to spend that money as you choose. If you want, let's say, you're there for 2 days and you want to have a really small lunch to get a really big dinner instead, you can do that. That's your decision. The also nice thing is accountability is not coming back to the district, that you don't have to come back, bring back all the receipts. We have to fill out the forms, figure out what, comes back and forth. It is a lot administratively. It's a lot easier. So that's just putting this in writing, and I'm going to use, once, if this is approved, I'm use this myself as an example, because I'm going to conference in 2 weeks, so everyone can see how this actually works in real life. But it will significantly make it easier for all staff to try to get through it. And that's actually how I did the budget for this year for IPRA in January, was based upon this per diem.
And actually, we're kind of behind the 8 ball in terms of what the other park districts, the best practices and what they're using. And we ran this by Ansel Glink, and they were completely comfortable with this, and they recommend this style. And certainly, alcohol is not permissible at all. So, that's something that we take seriously when it comes to per diem money.
And the thing is, even with the per diem, we're not giving you any for alcohol anyway, but I mean, it's already in the GSA code that you can't use the money for alcohol, but in essence, we're kind of doing a secondary overlook and saying, hey, this is just, by the way, still not supposed to use it.
And another issue is, people were putting things on the Park District card and getting taxed on it because it was a cab ride, or it was, something that, so in this case, what's nice is that, it takes the tax out of it. It's per diem, it's, if they want to bring the tax exempt card, they can, but.
For those of you who might be unfamiliar with the GSA IRS rate program, the rates are different depending on which city you go to. And furthermore, there's 2 different means of applying a per diem. There's a high-low rate, and then there's just a regular rate. Rita's going to have to elect which one to apply and apply it uniformly to everybody. And also in regard to the alcohol issue, there is somewhat of a trade-off. If you require receipts for all of your reimbursements, there is some accountability for whether or not you're asking for alcohol. With a per diem, there's no record keeping at all. And the per diem is just a business expense of the park district. Not that it pays income taxes, but it's a business expense nonetheless. And you don't have to provide any record keeping. So you're putting people on the honor system that they're not going to be using it to buy alcohol.
Excellent.
That's it.
So the first reading of these policies, so we will take action next month, and please provide any feedback to Allison and Rita.
Great. And then the second policy, Jennifer's getting up behind the mic. It's hiring policy. She, as I said, she dove right into the Park District and wanted to really tighten up our hiring policy. So Jennifer, I'll defer to you.
Sure, thank you. As you see, the policy recommendation is displayed similarly to Rita's. I was able to just keep the basic format from the existing policy and show the changes that we would be making. During the loss control review with Paderma and some hiring that I started my first week or two here, I noticed that our pre-employment screening process currently is we require full-time employees to have a physical screening as well as a drug test. And then if they do work for the Parks Department, they are also getting an audio test. However, there's very little liability or even anything we can do with pre-employment screenings for office staff. So I propose we use the money we can save from just having office staff drug tested to lift test or have our parks and gymnastics staff have lift testing with physical therapists. And at that same time, they do talk about lifting techniques and how to know your limits, how to safely go about lifting. So that would be my recommendation. We change our policy. Our full-time employees standard would be a drug test, and then we would implement lift testing, audio testing as needed for our parks and gymnastics, two high-risk areas for us.
We hope that will help us with workers' comp claims.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is the first reading as well, so please provide any comments. Next item on the agenda is item number 16, Fox Valley Special Rec Association.
Yes, I just attended the Fox Valley Special Rec Board meeting on Monday, and they've announced their foundation's Northern Nights and Tree Lights fundraiser. It's their biggest fundraiser of the year. Last year, Nicole Corkin and I went. I can't recall who the Fox Valley Special Rec Board rep is. Is there one? Or am I?
No.
You appointed me.
You kicked us off.
You told us we could.
Oh, man.
Well, you're more than welcome. The Park District is going to reserve a table.
What evening is it?
It is November 22nd from 6 to 11 p.m. at the Hilton Garden in St. Charles. And Fox Valley Special Rec Association is our sister agency. They do so much with us for inclusion services. We work side by side with them throughout the entire year. Many of our staff has volunteered with them. They're just a phenomenal group, so this is a great way to support them. So please let me know if I can RSVP for you.
Great. So next item on the agenda is executive session to discuss leasing property and land acquisition 2C5 under the Illinois Open Meetings Act. So I would entertain a motion.
I move we go to executive session.
All right.
Second.
So motion by Foyle, second by Tillman. Any discussion? Shall I please call the roll?
Aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. Thank you very much for joining us this month. We do not anticipate any board action after the board meeting, so we will see you in September. Thank you.